everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mike and Bradley Sports Scene. My name is Mike Smith, and with me is Bradley Hargis. And we're back after a very interesting last show we had, in which, we got a record number of likes out of it, according to Billy Bridges, and it was 18,000, Bradley, and that's a lot of likes. A lot of people were bored, or something like that, but we appreciate every one of those likes.
A glutton for punishment, probably.
Maybe. Yeah, that was an interesting thing. And of course, they were here for to advertise their 300 show, which they did a couple of days later. And I was on the last part of that show, congratulating them and doing the usual talking about sports and that sort of thing. And again, congratulations to Albert and Billy for their 300 show. And let's hope they have 300 more coming on. I think they have it in them. Yeah, we're here to talk about sports. Anyway, in fact, of course, we're going to start with the local sports scene like we usually do, and we know first off we have been absolutely forgetful of mentioning the Bledsoe County baseball team. They finished 13-15 this season, 5-6 in the league, lost in the district tournament and didn't make it out very far, but congratulations to them for their fine effort this season. And they had some good victories this year, of course, Bradley.
Oh yeah, they had a couple 4-game win streaks, beating teams like Austin East, out of Knoxville, which is a larger school, which is impressive. Couldn't get over the cusp against Marion County or Sequatchie, but still a very solid year. Finished in 4th place in the district or the region, however they call it in baseball. Losing in the district tournament to Marion County, and it was the last game they played. Lost 4-2, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a respectable season nonetheless. I know it was 2 games below 500. Still a very good season for Bledsoe County baseball.
That was better. They had won 4 games the year before, and so that's 13 is a great improvement.
Any improvement is positive, direction is good, and I think the baseball team is definitely on the rise right now.
Okay, we also want to give congratulations to the Bledsoe County ladies softball team. They made it all the way to the sectionals. Unfortunately, back-to-back losses, 5-0 to Decatur, Meigs County. 5-0 on the road, and at Alcoa 7-4, eliminating from a trip to Murfreesboro. But nevertheless, they gave it a good try. In fact, Alcoa, the first time they met this season, it was 11-0 Alcoa, so they were much improved.
They gave Alcoa all they wanted for the first 3 or 4 innings, and then Alcoa's bats woke up. So Bledsoe was very close to punching a ticket to the state tournament, making it to the regionals, as you said, or the regional semifinals, against winning against Kingston, and then going all the way to the sectionals and then, like you said, losing to Alcoa. Very, very good season, winning the district again this year, undefeated in the district again this year. So you got to say, hats off to them. They really played their hearts out this year. 17-10 record, and the 10 losses were to teams that were very, very good.
Absolutely.
Teams like Silverdale, even Meigs and Alcoa, they both
they split with Ray County. They split with Ray County.
Yes, Meigs and Alcoa both made it to the state qualifier. So they played a really hard schedule this year and finished 17-10 and first in the district. That's very impressive. Very impressive.
The district as I have it was very weak. Sequatchie and Marion County was one that really was in there, but it's still, that's an impressive run to them for the girls here. Now we're going to go to a little bit of fishing news here, as we had a couple of youngsters actually went to the state championship, Tennessee Bass Nation High School State Championship on Kentucky Lake, which was earlier this week. They finished 53rd out of 160. With 5.5 weigh-in on Friday and 12.98 pounds in rough water on a windy Saturday, for a total of 18.48 pounds. The biggest fish in the tournament came on day 2 with a 3.3 pounds 8 ounce pounder, And of course, they racked up 667 points on the season, including 296 at the championship to close out the year in 57th place. That's not a bad thing, and it really is. That of course, fishing is a big thing. You have a fishing selection at the pharmacy, of course.
Sure do. Fish and tackle, rods and reels, and a heck of a deal. Come on down and see us.
Absolutely. And so we'll give him some free advertisement there. But anyway, they did a very good thing. Caden Casey and Smith and Morgan. Jet Smith and Maddox Morgan were the two fishermen in that contest. Congratulations to them. We also want to go to the local shooters, shooters a shotgun contest, and they traveled across to participate in the 2024 STP Region 3 Championship, and that was earlier again this week. Of course, Ian Fife came away with three first place medals, and basically they did a really good thing and a lot of things. And let's go. Ethan Johnson, Caden Johnson, Saudi Daisy were teammates, and basically what it is skeet. Mm-hmm. That's what it is, skeet. Those things where you shoot off in the air and you try to blast them. Mm-hmm. It's sort of skeet's an interesting little sport. So congratulations to the young men here again. And Hayden Tabor participated in the event. He was one of the Bledsoe County people. He had 2 fourth place finishes, 11th place finish, and a 9th place finish in the senior division. Skeet, Tabor came in 4th with a total of 90 targets out of 100 hit. Not bad. It's 90%.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
No. Each round he scored 24, 21, 23, and 22. And his aim was true on 74 out of 100 targets. Not bad at all, 75%. 17, 19, and 19 each round for 11th place. That's not bad. So again, congratulations to those. And he will go on to the Clay Target program, which will be in late June in Nashville, at the Nashville Gun Club. So congratulations to all these fine young people here for
absolutely
doing it, and congratulations to everybody who's participated in sports in Bledsoe County High School, from the middle school to the elementary school tradition as well.
Representing the Valley well.
Absolutely. And of course, hunting and fishing, one of the big things that you have around here, not a sport but an avocation, more or less, as a lot of people here, of course, well acquainted with guns and rifles and that sort of thing.
When they first came into the high school scene with archery, mm-hmm. It was always between Bledsoe and Van Buren,
yep,
of who was going to be the state champions. Bledsoe would come up just a hair short.
They came up runner-ups one year.
Runner-ups for more than 1 year.
Yeah.
Van Buren brought home a couple state titles, but Bledsoe County was right there in the mix every time, because, hey, that's what we do. Play sports and hunt.
They put my picture on the center of the great card.
Come on, give me a break. Goodness gracious.
What can I say? But
anyway, no wonder I'm in the shape I'm in.
Yeah. I won't comment. I know it's tempting. Anyway, but anyway, speaking of tempting, Billy told me, and he told me this. A lot of people call him and tell him it said, we like the way Mike and Bradley does the football broadcast. He said they like the banter. Some said they even listen to the ball game. That tells you something right there.
Well, it's like I said, and of course I was pulling your leg. You come over here when I first started doing this, and you was trying to get me riled up. And you came over to the store, and you walked in, and you're like, hey, everybody's really liking, listening to our football broadcast. Then it was on tape delay, where we would play on Saturdays. Uh-huh. He said everybody's really liking it. And really thinking it's really cool, and you're just kind of thumping your own chest, saying, they're really liking the broadcast because I'm doing such a good job. And I was like, no, they like the broadcast because there's actually somebody on there that knows football.
Really?
I remember.
How come you're on it?
Hey, you came in, you fired the first shot, and I popped the balloon and it landed. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah. What about the so-called the helicopter? The helicopter bit.
The helicopter is a work in progress.
Yeah. That progress I'll never see. And the limo, the $5,000 bonus.
You hadn't got your bonus yet?
No, I ain't got the bonus. I don't work for the money. I work for the love of the game.
Oh, well, I don't either. But out of the goodness of their heart, WAT's always gave me a signing bonus. Past 2 years, I've got one from Bledsoe Telephone, so I don't know where yours is going, but I figure after 2 or 3 years with all these sign-on bonuses,
shall we ask Ethan to make so I can make a liar out of you?
No, he don't handle the accounting and stuff over there. But he gets his cut of it, so he's on my side.
Yeah, I'm sure. Get back to the lighter side of things. Spring football practice wrapped up a little early this year because of the weather. We had a lot of rain and a lot of rain. When I went to Meigs County to cover the regional game up there, they had we had people more or less trying to find trees to hide under during certain portions of that, which was unusual. I think I had more rainy, windy, and cold days than I had sunny days doing broadcasts of softball this year, and that sort of thing. Oh no! By the way, for the scoreboard at the high school, it's still there, still intact, still working. So hopefully that will stay that way this year.
Thankfully, thus far, we've had a few pretty rough spring storms, but and I know we're still technically in the spring, but thankfully it's not been as bad as it has been the past couple of years, and where the scoreboard has been blown down. They made it a lot deeper this time and a lot stronger as far as the foundation is concerned. So, from what I hear, it's. Of course, again, you get a 70 to 80 mile an hour wind, anything can happen. But I really believe they've fortified it enough that it'll withstand.
I insisted they brick it.
Yeah.
So it would make it a little harder for it to fall off here.
Now, the only reason you want them to brick it is because you want them to be like Sequatchie County.
Well, no, if I wanted to be like Sequatchie County,
I would nice brick press box, and we've already noticed that you're wearing your purple and gold today.
I'm not.
So
I'm not a Sequatchie County fan. First
trying
off,
to talk Bledsoe sports and Valley sports and supporting our teams. I'm a blue blood. I'm a blue blood. I'm a Bledsoe County blue-blooded warrior, and here you are supposed to be the same.
And that's a picture of you, Bradley, right there.
Oh my goodness! He's wearing Sequatchie County.
Yeah, that's a picture of you right there, Bradley. This is a store uniform, so basically, this is what I wear. It's not got nothing to do with Sequatchie County.
Well, when I saw that purple and gold, I actually did grimace. Grimace at the side of it.
Yeah, well, which is right now. I'm the Hamburglar more or less than Grimace, but anyway. But that's that sort of thing that we go into. Of course, again, in July they'll start getting ready for football practice and for the football season. And Bledsoe County will, of course, try to improve upon the 9-3 record, including beating Sequatchie County and York Institute, which went all the way to the semifinal rounds this year as the league champion, and hopefully that will change a little bit. That game will be up at York. We've got a surprise at the end of the show. I'm sure. So, you're resigning?
No. At the very end. So you viewers and listeners, be sure that you hang on to the end, because we're going to start a tradition, an annual tradition right here on Sports Scene with Mike and Bradley. 2024. We're going to start.
I'll tell you something. For you people out there, you better lock up your dollars and your liquor and cover your
family show. Why are you talking about liquor
cover your children's eyes and cover their ears. You may not know it.
Like that.
But anyway, okay. Well, we're going to go to a break in the action here, and then when we come back, we'll start talking about some college sports and some rulings by the NCAA, which will surprise you and which will throw you for a few curves in a way that no one ever unexpected. As you're watching and listening to the Mike and Bradley Sports Scene here on Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative Channel 18.
You need a bank that you can depend on. Here at Citizens Tri-County Bank, we have the most dependable staff that you will ever meet. Call in, you will not get an automated attendant, you'll get a person. But on the other side, we have all the technology that anyone would need, from apps to online banking to bill pay. So please come and grow with us as we're about to celebrate our 50th year. We are the only community bank you will ever need.
Come and see the beautiful Sequatchie Valley. And while you're here, visit the Dunlap Mercantile. We have a full line of hats from Resistol, Stetson, Charlie One Horse, American Hat Makers, GG Pip, Greeley hats from the TV show Yellowstone, and a full line of vintage hats. Make sure to check out our hat bar where we can clean, shape, and customize a hat just for you, right here at the Dunlap Mercantile.
At Jason Lewis Dunlap Supercenter, we're committed to be better. Better prices, better vehicles, a better experience. Your Jason Lewis Dunlap Supercenter understands that you rely on us to provide you with the highest quality of used vehicles. With over 350 pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. So what are you waiting for? Let us show you a better experience with the Jason Lewis Automotive family. Come visit us at Rankin Avenue here in Dunlap or on the web at dunlapsupercenter.com.
Okay, everybody, we are back. As now we're going to go into our college sports thing. World's the college baseball. Tennessee so far is still live and well. The number one ranked Vols will be playing Evansville in the Super Regional. The Evansville Aces out of Evansville, Indiana. They are the Purple Aces. And that's I used to live up around the area. I never could find out why they call themselves the Purple Aces. But one of these days I will find out. And of course, they will be down here because they're the number 4 seed, and they're looking out to be the third number 4 seed to advance to the World Series.
They've beat some good teams to get where they're at right now, especially playing Tennessee. The advantage that we have is the Knoxville Super Regional is in Knoxville.
Right.
That's the advantage we have. So we're at Lindsey Nelson Stadium playing a very, very good Evansville team. That first game is June 7th, which I believe that is what, Friday night?
Friday night
at Friday evening, actually, at 3 p.m. So you probably get that on your daily.
It probably
daily matinee show.
It may be on the SEC Network or ESPN, one of the two. But anyway, of course, Lindsey Nelson, of course, named after the man who helped found the Vol Radio Network, and he was actually the first announcer. He also did New York Mets baseball, and he did the Cotton Bowl for many years, and that sort of thing. And he actually had a story how he went to Neyland about founding. I said, well, I'd like to do a radio network for Tennessee football. And Neil says, well, yeah, that's fine, great. And I said, well, I like to put in a $10,000 bid. And he says, well, you probably get that. And he said, well, the problem is I don't have $10,000. And he says, well, anybody who has a good idea, we can see if we can work it out. And it was supposed to be the Volunteer Network, but Neyland said shorten it to the Vol Network, and of course it worked. And of course, again, over 75 years of for the Vol Network has been on the air for Tennessee fans everywhere. The girls softball team, the Lady Volunteers, unfortunately lost to Alabama in a 14-inning marathon that was delayed by the weather. So Alabama knocks the Lady Vols out, but congratulations to them as well.
Well, if it's a plug for the SEC in both those sports, I mean, you got Oklahoma and Texas are playing for the national championship in the softball bracket. I believe that starts tonight. Actually.
I believe so, yes.
At 5 p.m. they start playing tonight. Game 1, and then Game 2 will be tomorrow, and if they need the Game 3, if necessary, is Friday. So there's 2 who will be in the SEC. Might as well go ahead and say they're SEC because they're claiming it already. And then as far as baseball, of the 16 teams, 4 are SEC teams. Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Florida, A&M, 5.
I think was Mississippi State still in there? Okay.
No.
I may be wrong.
No. Georgia is hosting in the Athens Super Regional. Kentucky's in the Lexington Super Regional. They're hosting. Texas A&M is hosting at College Station. Florida, they are playing at Clemson in the Clemson Super Regional, and of course Tennessee is hosting in Knoxville. So 5 of the final 18 or 16 teams are SEC, and that's Texas didn't make it, but we do have a lot of former Pac-10 teams and ACC teams that are represented. But the vast majority of them are from the southeast area, nonetheless. NC State, Virginia, North Carolina, and West Virginia, Florida State. All of those teams are from this area. So, but yeah, SEC is really making a strong push as far as not just in softball and baseball, but if you look at the preseason poll for football, of the 25 teams, 11 of them are SEC teams.
That's about half. That's
it's
pretty good deal.
Definitely still a power conference by every stretch of your imagination that you can conjure up. SEC is cream of the crop, pretty much.
Absolutely. I was reading. I got Bill Battle's autobiography. When he played football at Alabama in 1960, Brian had a unique way of grading his the players in practice on films. He would call them runs batted in because he was a baseball fan. He would go to baseball games, professional baseball. He had passes every one of the parks, and he said call them runs batted in. If you tackled somebody, he's got 2 runs batted in. You turn it off that way, and they would. And that's how he graded them. He didn't grade them on how many tackles you made, how many runs batted in you did. That was the way he did. That was interesting. That was an interesting little thing. You didn't know that. But anyway, that was very interesting. Now, let's talk about some news out of the NCAA, which sort of stunned me a little bit and shocked me a little. The NCAA has settled a lawsuit. Apparently, now they will allow players to be paid while they're at the college. All levels, even players that are no longer playing at the schools, will get paid. They're still trying to work the details on how much they're going to get paid and whatever. But apparently one of the deals is to put up each school's out to put up to $21 million in a special fund to pay these players. Maybe because really the NIL doesn't cover every player. Not every player on a team gets the goodies.
Well, see, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to level that field out. My honest opinion is they get rid of the NIL altogether, and every school has X amount. Or if you give NIL to a certain player, like for example, let's say John Doe, Jimmy Doe, and Ronnie Doe are going to going to play at just different places. Well, Jimmy Doe is better than John and Ron.
Right.
Well, he's going to get $4 million out of the NIL. That should go into a fund, I think, and just distribute it out to each player equally. I think if I was going to go to school, and I know people are like, there's no way that you would go if somebody's going to give you $3 and $4 million and you would share that with the whole team. I probably would. Because I think it's a team effort. Nobody wins a championship. Nobody wins a ball game on their own. It takes everybody working together. So I think it would work better if instead of taking the NIL, what it is now, if they would take everything that is accumulated from every different player, put it into the fund for that school, and if they transfer, those funds stay at that school.
That's right. You don't
that way you'll knock this transfer portal junk out. You won't be able to just enter in. And if you do leave, like if you are committed to play at, say, Alabama, and they've given you some $3 to $4 million to play Alabama, and you up and want to transfer somewhere else because you can get more money,
$3 to $4 million.
That $3 to $4 million stays with Alabama.
Well, I don't think they're going to pay that much per player. I mean, that'd be a bit much.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just kind of
that's an example, of course. But the thing about it is that it used to be in college sports they would pay you $15 in laundry money. Now, if you got a girlfriend that did your laundry for you, you can spend that money either any way you want it. But they could and meal money. That's how it's if you ever saw the picture of 1974 Tennessee Clemson where Larry Severs caught the 2-point reception from it, and you see the guy with the suitcase in his hand, and what it is, what he was doing, what was in that briefcase? Meal money.
Yeah.
Meal money. I'm sure
Yeah.
that he was probably super saying, "Whoa, meal money." That's what he was thinking. It was that sort of thing. And nowadays, of course, you don't have laundry money anymore, and but I think it's that they're probably going to work out the details of how far back do you go back to pay the players. You don't pay them like 50 years back, or like Peyton Manning, who doesn't need the money.
Yeah.
He's got it.
I don't know how you would find a common ground there, because I do agree that schools make millions off of these players.
Yeah,
and I agree with that and don't argue that at all.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue that I have is they're not playing for free.
No.
They're getting housing. They're getting free food. They're getting free tutoring. They're getting a degree.
Yeah.
They're getting free school because their tuition is being paid for by their scholarship.
Yeah.
They're not playing for free.
Yeah.
They are playing for those things.
Yeah.
So it's really not like you're telling me every player deserves to make X amount of dollars because they're using their name, image, and likeness. Well, what happened to them playing for the education? What happened to them playing for the free housing? What happened to them playing for the chance to go the next level? Those are bonuses and perks that come to every player that comes through the collegiate ranks. But they're overlooking that.
Yeah.
Because the schools again are making 4 and 5 times all of that, based on their jersey sales, based on their images, based on everything as far as that concerned.
Yeah.
So I agree that there needs to be, like, if they're using my number, my name, and my face to make money, I would want my cut of it. But at the same token, I'm not going to say, hey, you've got to give me. I'm not going to be greedy about it, because I am getting an education, I am getting free food,
Right.
I am getting tutoring, I am getting a degree, I'm getting housing, I'm getting everything,
Yeah.
and no matter what I want. Let's be honest with you. If you have a student athlete, regardless of it's football, basketball, baseball, those are the big three. Now you still got softball, you still got all the other sports. I'm not taking away from them, but let's just say, for example's sake, football, basketball, baseball, and you go and you play at Knoxville, or you play in Tuscaloosa,
Right.
or you play in Lexington.
Right.
You're going to get anything you want. You're going to be revered in that community
course.
as a superstar.
Yeah.
And they're going to treat you like royalty. Even if you don't go to the school and eat at the meal plans and the food they're prepared. And we're not talking, if you think that these college athletes are getting fed just salads and baked potatoes, you are way outside the mark. They're getting what we would call a 5-star treatment at these restaurants. They are getting steaks. They are getting seafood. They're getting things that are loaded in protein. Things that are very, very nice meals. They're not living off ramen noodles.
No.
In a college dorm. That's not what they're doing at all.
No.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Because with the effort they put forth as far as the training, the practices, and all that, I would agree.
The energy levels.
They do need the extra protein and a defined
for the energy,
nutrition plan. I get that, and I'm for that. I'm not knocking it. But these kids are getting treatment from the communities, from the school, that nobody else gets.
No.
Preference wherever they go that nobody else gets. And on top of that, now they're going to get paid a sum of money. But on top of that, they can get no telling how much in NIL.
But they're probably going to have to sign agreements to not do certain things. That they
well, naturally, of course. But again, if the NCAA wanted to, and it's going to come down to this, and you mark my word, the only reason the NCAA has not cracked down on NIL is because they have not found a way for them to get some money out of it.
Yes, absolutely.
And once they do, I know I'm talking like a conspiracy theorist here when I say this, but just like our government, they find ways to tax something, and if something is making a lot of money, they make it illegal until they find a way to tax it, and then they open it for everybody else. That's all it is. It's all about money, and the NCAA is sitting back right now thinking of ways that they can cap NIL so that they can get a cut, and guess what? The student athlete doesn't get near as much as what they were getting originally, and it's already starting. because they're seeing millions being thrown around
Right.
across the country, and NCAA is getting nothing out of it. So I'm just saying they're gonna put a stop to it somehow, or put a cap on it, and find some way to get some for themselves. That's just the way it's going to be. And when they do that, the big conferences with the boosters that they have are, you look for the NCAA to fall in shambles, because they're going to pull out of it. Because the SEC could. The SEC, the ACC, the Big 10, Big 12, those Power 4 conferences now, they can basically, with their own markets,
Write their own rules.
they can write their own rules, they can have their own networks, they don't need the NCAA. And honestly, the NCAA is scared right now, which is why they didn't push so hard against Tennessee and Virginia against that court case.
Yeah.
Because they know all it's going to take is one big, ruling, and the rest of the college scene is going to be like, what are we even doing here? We can make our own thing. So college football and college sports are
It's like TV.
yeah.
It used to, prior to 1983, a college team would have gone on TV once. Because basically it was like you once, and that was it. And you lucky if you saw them, you had to listen to it on radio and get the newspaper. Of course, some schools start to sue the NCAA, say, hey, look, we ought to be on more than one time, and let them make it. And that's what happened. The NCAA gave in, and that's why you have all these teams on TV every week. But I'll tell you a little story here. I had a couple of Auburn players in the 1970s. Now, they made some extra money by selling tickets to the big games, to Alabama, Tennessee, Alabama, Auburn, the Iron Bowl. Okay, they bought about a dozen tickets. Now, these were like, they got complimentary tickets, and they went out and bought some more tickets. And this was about $16 or $7 or $8 back then, which was cheap. Well, they said they put an advertisement in the paper that said, tickets to the Iron Bowl, 50-yard line, $100 a piece. People would send in the money. They would send in the tickets. Time for the Iron Bowl. They were end zone seats. They were in the end zone seats. Okay. Now these guys come out on the field, and these people right now are looking at them with blood in their eyes. Said, "You freak! You lied to us! You so and so!" And you know what happened? This was the 1972 game, Alabama and Auburn. Okay, Alabama was leading 16-3, and they were back to punt. Auburn blocked the punt. The player scooped up the ball, went into the end zone, 16-10. Alabama got the ball back, had to punt it again. What happens? Blocked the punt again. Same guy picks the ball up at the same spot, runs it into the end zone, and Auburn wins 17-6. It was known as Punt Bama Punt. That was the famous Punt Bama Punt, and it knocked Alabama out of the national championship. And you know what it is? Those guys who had blood in their eyes for these Auburn players were in that end zone when it had happened, and they said at the end, they loved us again. That's what it is. He said, because basically that was the only way they could make extra money, was selling their tickets.
Yeah.
We'd sell their complimentary tickets. Of course, the NCAA cracked down on it. Tennessee was one of those, and they said that now they can't sell the tickets.
Yeah.
They can give the tickets away, but they can't sell them, and that's how, ridiculous.
Well, there's a way to get around that. You could donate. You give the tickets for a donation.
Yeah.
You're not selling it.
Yeah. Or give it to a relative and they'll sell it for you.
Sure.
And therefore,
there's ways around all of that.
And and the opponent that Tennessee was supposed to play that week, New Mexico, the head coach said, "I'm in Tennessee's court." It says, when you can't take your girlfriend to a ball game, where's the fun in that?
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. But the thing about it is, of course, the NCAA, of course, the expansion. They're talking more about expansion again. Mm-hmm. The talk is on the University of Virginia maybe going into the SEC. Now that would give them their television exposure up near Washington D.C. and Delaware, and that would give that Virginia, Florida State, apparently trying to detach itself from the ACC. Where will they go? Big 10 or SEC? We don't know, or even the Big 12. No one knows. And but of course we know that very much that the SEC is going to have 16 teams with Texas, Oklahoma, which I still consider to be SEC teams. They're just brought in for the money. They got the money. And as one coach said, there are three things that make college football operate. 1 is money, 2 is money, 3 is money.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes college football run. It's all about the money, and that sort of thing.
You got some big programs out there that are in the vicinity of the Southeastern Conference, or even lies within the Southeastern Conference area, that could really succeed in the SEC and really rake in more money. And there are talks of Virginia. I've even heard rumors of West Virginia. I've even heard rumors again of Florida State, because they're wanting out of the ACC and on their way out. But SEC's already said no once. But who's to say they won't see the benefits?
Well, they said that about
true.
6 years ago, and then they end up taking 2 more teams.
And I see North Carolina as a target, simply because of the basketball and now the football, because North Carolina is excelling in football now, starting to be a regular as far as being at the top of their conference. So you're going to have that market. I look for Virginia, Virginia Tech, West Virginia, North Carolina, and I'm going to go even say Florida State. Looking for one of those two of those 5 teams to make the move in 2026.
There's one team I don't think is going to be in the SEC, and that's Miami.
I don't think
they got that too much of that reputation. On their necks.
I don't see Miami as being in that, but yeah, I still see those 5 teams, the 2 Virginia teams, West Virginia, North Carolina, and Florida State.
Well, you got an automatic rivalry in Florida and Florida State. You also got an automatic rivalry in South Carolina, Clemson. And then you have, of course, Tennessee, North Carolina would be attractive. They used to play each other every year until '61.
Yeah.
And then they played once before.
Clemson's probably not going to do that, because Clemson right now has the same outlook on the SEC as Bobby Bowden had in the SEC. Because you see the interviews when Bobby Bowden was alive of why you didn't join the SEC, because the road to national championship was easier going through the ACC, which is why he didn't join the SEC back.
That's
when
why Florida State was so dominant in the 1990s.
So they were like the cream of the crop there, because they was winning 8 and 9 games out of the conference every year, which kept pushing them up toward the top. So Clemson is in that mindset now.
Yeah.
And I really do not see Clemson jumping ship from the ACC to the SEC for the same reasons that Bobby Bowden didn't do it back in late 80s.
No, I think what it is. Well, also Dabo Swinney is probably not going to be at Clemson very much longer. He's making some comments which I don't think he ought to.
Yeah, the Clemson faithful are not happy with him right now. And the one thing that I like him or not, I'm indifferent, but I just think it's kind of neat that he's, you got somebody that's openly showing that they have a backbone.
Yeah.
Because usually when a booster club or something puts the pressure on you, you'll buckle, and it's almost like you beg to stay on.
Yeah.
And I can remember last year Clemson had, last season Clemson had lost 3 or 4 games, and they were calling for his head.
Yeah.
And in a press conference, post-game press conference, he said something on the line of, well, if they don't want me, I'll take my talents elsewhere. He was like, look, and really he's got his living made. I mean, because if they get rid of him, I mean, they'll have to buy him out. Yeah. So he's going to get the money either way. So and he's a good coach. I mean, don't get me wrong. He worked under Saban. He's won a championship at Clemson. He's been in the playoff 3 or 4 times. He's done very well. So he can build a program. And he's a good coach.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to play for him myself sometimes when I see here's one of the things he said.
I would think so. You also look at look at Mark Stoops at Kentucky. He almost went to Texas A&M last year, but they got the alumni at Texas A&M got into a bit of a snit about it, like they did at Shenango with Tennessee. And there's now the rumor I'm hearing is that he may be going to hang it up after this year. He may decide he's going to want to get out of Lexington and retire. He's the winningest coach there at Kentucky. He's brought Kentucky into somewhat respectability,
Yeah.
even though I don't think Kentucky will ever be in the elite as, say, Georgia or Tennessee. Those are the two big speed bumps that he has trouble getting over.
Yeah.
And that's where he's had better teams at Kentucky, and he can't beat Tennessee.
Well, that's like your Auburns. Of course, Auburn's, they were a winning program not that long ago.
Yeah.
But you have your Arkansas, your Auburns, your Mississippi States, your Ole Misses. They've got to get over the Alabama and the LSU hump.
Yeah.
And in the East, they've got to get over.
Well, there's no divisions now, so that's
the former East teams had to get through Georgia and at one time Tennessee and Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, those are really, when you think about the SEC, very rarely, unless you're talking basketball, does Kentucky come up in the first three schools you mentioned.
I used to call the SEC the really Big Ten because they and it still applies. You look at you look at the hump. You look at Vanderbilt. They've had more luck beating Tennessee than Kentucky has, but Vanderbilt's being Vanderbilt. But the coaches are looking at that. You look at Arkansas, Sam Pittman. He's got to win there this year or he's gone.
Yeah.
Florida, Billy Napier. He's got to win there or he's gone. You just look at Hugh Freeze at Auburn. He probably is going to have to win within the next couple of years, or he's gone. It's how it is. You look at Alabama. They're going into the post Nick Saban era with this coach, which he's a proven coach. He's proven coaching, but will he be successful? Or will he be another Ray Perkins?
Well, you have the disadvantage that the coaching carousel has today is you enter into a job the first year on the scene and you're already on the hot seat.
Right.
Like you don't get to go in and you don't get 3 to 4 years, 5 years to build a program. No, you come in, you better win. And if you don't win, you're done.
Yeah, it's like Johnny Majors. Johnny Majors came in 1977.
Mm-hmm.
His first record was 4-7, 5-5-1, and 7-5. Now, if that had been today, he'd been gone by the second season.
Yeah,
and that was that was John. Johnny Majors. He said this is how he said it. He said, "I can do more than most people can, but that may not be good enough at Tennessee." And he was right. He took a pay cut to come to Tennessee from Pittsburgh because they were offering him oodles and oodles of money.
From those standards, of course, it's a different sport. But if you look at arguably one of the greatest coaches in women's sports is Pat Summitt.
Right.
Look at the first 5 years.
She actually had a pretty good record for 5 years.
She was okay.
Yeah.
But by today's standards,
it would have got her fired.
It got her fired.
Well, the thing about Pat Summitt is that now there's a story was going around is that Bob Woodruff, who was the athletic director over the men's teams, wanted Summitt fired, but he had no power to do so because there's a women's athletic director and she was not going to get rid of her for all of it. But remember this: when she started out, there was no real women's program going in college, but she and a couple of others. At Stanford, at Louisiana Tech, a couple other places got it started, and that sort of thing. In fact, you said some of these women's teams actually had to beg and steal basketballs from the men's team just to practice.
Oh yeah,
and that sort of thing. The thing about it is that you got schools that are basketball schools like Kentucky and Louisville, and you got schools that are football schools like Tennessee and Alabama. But that line is being blurred because the simple fact of the matter is Tennessee, what is it now? They're about as good a basketball school as they are a football school.
If I'm not mistaken, Tennessee is the first SEC school to win the regular season in men's basketball.
Right.
To win the regular season in men's baseball.
Right.
To win the regular season in women's softball.
Right.
And it's unprecedented if the Lady Vols get back on track and the football Vols get back on track. It is very possible within the next couple of years, if those three programs stay top notch and Tennessee football comes back up and Lady Vols come back up, could it be even expected that Tennessee could win 5 regular seasons with football, baseball, basketball, women's basketball, and softball. It's very plausible.
Tennessee's won the all sports SEC trophy, second straight year.
Yeah.
So that basically tells you how much.
And see, we're not even discussing, your rowing teams, your lacrosse, your tennis, your volleyball, all of those, because if you go back and look at those teams, Tennessee's up there at the top.
Yeah.
I mean, they're right there with everybody else in the country. So, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Tennessee fan, but I'm just from painting with a broader brush here. SEC teams on those, I don't want to use the word, for lack of better words, auxiliary sports, because and I say that only because you don't hear much.
Yeah, you don't hear all that much.
You don't hear much about them. Those sports, SEC is again in those cream of the crop. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Bear Bryant once appeared on TV with a professor at Texas A&M, and they were discussing academics versus athletics. Now, Bryant was not well educated. It took him 9 years to get his degree in physical education from the University of Alabama, because he was playing coaching and this sort of thing. But he understood what education is about because he was poorly educated, and he understood that education is there forever. Football is not. And he said, and they said, and the professor was sort of like saying, well, football's not important as education. And Brian asked him a question. Said, when you give a final in your class, how many people are watching you? And the professor thought for a minute, around 50 to 75. He says, I have 50,000 give mine every Saturday. That's the difference. You see, what it is that people sit there and they talk about sports getting out of hand, and it certainly has gotten out of hand, but it's still it's something that people you like to watch, because it's unscripted drama is what they say. That's what sports is, unscripted going. So when you have 100,000 people sitting there watching a football game, and then you have 100,000 fans storm the field after a big win, as they did in Alabama, and they said you could smell the smell of cigars on that field for days afterwards, because it was because everybody was lighting it up. Some people say, well, it's sort of overdoing the athletics for the academics. Well, that's not necessarily so. It's just frustration being released.
Right.
That's how it is. It's like one person said about Vanderbilt. They said a couple of Vanderbilt professors were against Vanderbilt going to a bowl game, said would ruin the university's image. And the players told them, I said, we don't care what you say, we're going. And they went. And they went. That sort of thing. But you look at this. You got the expansion. It's college football is not going to be the same. It's going to be so totally different from what you're going to see this season. And by the way, also we know very well that Tennessee's going to have its first 3 games. We know the times of the playoffs. Chattanooga 11:45 on SEC Network. Then you have NC State, ABC prime time, ESPN. They should have stayed with CBS. I prefer them to stay with CBS, but you can't have everything. And then, of course, you have the Kent State, which is on SEC Network. That'll be a 6:45 p.m. kickoff. So we don't.
For those who we mentioned a while ago, there was 11. Speaking of football, there was 11 SEC teams. This is the source that I saw earlier today. 247 Sports, which got their source from ESPN and Sports Illustrated. Yeah. Tennessee is preseason ranked 9.
Well, that's probably about right, but I've seen some said from 15th to 10th.
I've had a 7th. I've seen them see 17th, 10th, 15th. This is the post-spring rankings, considering how the teams did in their spring games, what you could actually see them doing on the field. ESPN, Sports Illustrated, 247 Sports. This is a cumulative effort here between those 3 agencies. Georgia's obviously still number 1. There were some preseason polls that had Ohio State number 1 after the spring practices. Ohio State seems to be slipping a little bit. They're at number 4. Texas number 3, SEC. Number 5, Alabama. 8, Oklahoma. 9, Tennessee. 10, Missouri. That's his team to watch this year.
Yeah, that's it.
Mizzou is definitely on the rise.
Tennessee's not playing Missouri this year.
No, LSU's 13, Texas A&M 14, Ole Miss is 16, Auburn 19, and Florida is obviously 20, which is high for Florida because they had an off year last year. So the expectation is still there in Gatorland for Napier to get off that hot seat and to bring it back.
Well, yeah, he'd have to win, of course. Okay, when we come back, we're going to talk about professional baseball and some other odds and ends, and we're going to talk a little about his favorite team, the Los Angeles Dodgers. I had to do it. I had to do it. The devil made me do it, Bradley. Anyway, we're back with professional baseball and some odds and ends as you're watching the Mike and Bradley sports scene, and he's got that baseball bat over in the corner.
Don't forget the surprise, so stay tuned.
And the surprise, which I'm afraid of what it is, so be sure to lock your daughters up and hide your liquor because you're going to need it. Here on the Mike and Bradley sports scene here on Butzel Telephone Quad for Channel 18.
At Jason Lewis Dunlap Supercenter, we're committed to be better. Better prices, better vehicles, a better experience. Your Jason Lewis Dunlap Supercenter understands that you rely on us to provide you with the highest quality of used vehicles. With over 350 pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. So what are you waiting for? Let us show you a better experience with the Jason Lewis Automotive family. Come visit us at Rankin Avenue here in Dunlap or on the web at dunlapsupercenter.com.
Come and see the beautiful Sequatchie Valley. And while you're here, visit the Dunlap Mercantile. We have a full line of hats from Resistol, Stetson, Charlie One Horse, American Hat Makers, GG Pip, Greeley hats from the TV show Yellowstone, and a full line of vintage hats. Make sure to check out our hat bar where we can clean, shape, and customize a hat just for you, right here at the Dunlap Mercantile.
You need a bank that you can depend on. Here at Citizens Tri-County Bank, we have the most dependable staff that you will ever meet. Call in, you will not get an automated attendant, you'll get a person. But on the other side, we have all the technology that anyone would need, from apps to online banking to bill pay. So please come and grow with us as we're about to celebrate our 50th year. We are the only community bank you will ever need.
Okay, everybody, we're back here at the Mike and Bradley sports scene, and we're going to talk a little professional baseball. Of course, last night the Braves had a pretty good night pitching.
Yeah.
In their big win. Who did they beat last night? I believe I heard it on the radio
Red
this
Sox.
morning. The Red Sox.
8-3.
8-3. Knocked their socks off, so to speak. And of course, the Braves right now in the middle of the pennant race.
Mm-hmm.
And they, of course,
they are second place. They are 7 games behind the Phillies right now, which is a surprise because everyone was expecting the Braves to just kind of run the table, and I think that could have been very plausible if you got Spencer Strider, who's out with Tommy John surgery now. You got Acuna that's out with the ACL tear for the year. So you had Sean Murphy, one of the premier catchers. He and Darno was sharing the load behind the plate. He was out for the vast majority of the first part of the season, and still relatively early in the season, by the way. Then you had Riley out, the third baseman, and I mean they're plagued with injuries right now. I look for Alex Anthopoulos to make a few moves to get some big names in there to fill those gaps, even if it is just for a 1-year contract or whatever. But I mean, you still have a pretty good core. I forgot to mention AJ Minter from the bullpen. He's out for a little while in IL. I mean, so they're plagued with injuries, and of course the Phillies are just loving it up. I mean, they're raking in some good wins right now. 7 games ahead of the Braves, first place in the East. But again, we are it's a 162 game season, and we've only played 50, 50 some odd games. So there's still, two-thirds of a season almost still left, and a lot can happen. The Yankees, they're back where they normally are. They have the best record in baseball. Them and the Phillies are both 43-19. The Orioles are coming on. They're going to be a premier team. They got a lot of youth and a lot of talent. And the Dodgers obviously are going to keep winning. They're 7 games ahead of the Padres right now. So it's baseball is kind of on the ropes right now, especially if you're a Braves fan. What are they going to do to fill those gaps with those injuries?
Well, they'll do some trading and that sort of thing, and that sort of thing. And one thing is, yesterday, I only caught part of it, but apparently you have a Major League Baseball player has been suspended for life from Major League Baseball for betting on baseball.
I believe he was a player for the San Diego Padres. I cannot think of his name. I read the article myself, but I can't think of his name. But yes, he was caught and found guilty of betting on baseball. And
he did Pete Rose.
And betting on his games, and he is banned. And it's interesting because I'm waiting for the Major League Baseball to actually make a final decision as far as investigation on Shohei Ohtani right now, because apparently, according to Pete Rose, he said all you got to do to get out of betting on baseball is have an interpreter do it for you. Yeah. And again, I know you're innocent to proven guilty, but come on, there is no way, absolutely no way that man did not miss $4.5 million out of his budget. Yeah. Even though he's making,
I would miss I would miss $4 out of my
budget. Even though he's making 4 times that, there is no way that $4.5 million was unaccounted for in his budget and taken, allegedly taken by his interpreter. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't buy that. Even if it's on sale, even if it's free, I'm not taking it. I just think there's got to be something else going on here. And if it is true that he's completely innocent, then that's great. He's a fine young man. He's playing lights out baseball right now as far as hitting. Arguably one of the better players in the leagues right now. But still, you can't deny if he was involved any at all, he should get the same treatment as Babe Ruth as Pete Rose and as this guy from San Diego has now got. And if they're not going to give him the same punishment if he's involved, then reinstate both those players that have been banned.
Absolutely.
Give Pete Rose, get him back in baseball, and just erase this and be done with it.
We of course have a couple of sports figures deaf to report. Bill Walton, who played basketball for the Celtics and won a couple of championships with various other NBA teams, died at age 71. He played for John Wooden at UCLA, right when we're in the middle of their 10 straight year national championship streak, something you'll never see in basketball ever again. I will guarantee you that, because John Wooden was one of the great basketball players of all time. Died at age 71. And former UT player Chip Kell has died. He played for the Volunteers from 1968 to 1971, and was on the team that recorded the record for interceptions for 36 in 1970. Chip Kell died at age 73. He also coached a number of teams, high school football teams, including Hickson High School. He was there for a number of times. Chip Kell, of course, was one of the great ball legends, and he has died at age 73. They didn't say of what I believe maybe cancer, but anyway, our condolences off to the families of those who have passed.
Speaking of Bill Walton and his time with the Celtics are playing for the NBA championship against the Mavericks. That game is tomorrow. Game 1 tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. That's Eastern time, 7:30 Central, I think. But nonetheless, they are playing the Dallas Mavericks. Boston Celtics, number 1 team in the league right now. Dallas Mavericks come in as a 4 seed, and they found a way to scrap through and beat teams that were supposed to beat them. So it's just going to be an interesting series. I know Billy's tickled about that because Billy's a big Celtics fan. So I know he's probably wearing his wearing his clovers, and he might even be dressed.
I might have to wear a Atlanta Hawks hat around here.
Billy might need to we need to get Billy a leprechaun outfit so he can wear it around if the Celtics win.
I'm sure he would. You know how Dallas got its nickname, the Mavericks.
Mm-mm.
Okay, well in the 1950s there was this TV show called Maverick. It had James Garner on. He played a card playing shark.
Yeah.
That went around towns and played cards and that sort of thing. You get into a little bit of trouble. And he was a coward in a way because he didn't like using gunplay and all that. And what it was is that James Garner said they started putting humor in it. So it was more like a funny western in a way. And you do think they would do send ups on Gunsmoke and Bonanza and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so they and Maverick, what stands for is somebody who doesn't play by the rules. Or they used to have a guy, a cattle owner named Maverick. He never branded his cows. So whenever that unbranded cow will wander onto somebody else's ranch, oh, there's a Maverick.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they got the name Maverick. They just spelled the name a little differently. So that's how the name Maverick Dallas Mavericks got the name. He said he wished James Garner said he wished he had put a copyright on the name. He would be rich.
There's also a Mel Gibson movie, Maverick.
Yeah, that was based on the TV series because Mel Gibson said he loved watching Maverick as a child. I watched it a few times and I think it was hilarious. But that sort of thing. And of course they would bring in his younger brother to sort of spell off because they didn't have enough time to shoot enough episodes with him alone, so they brought this other guy in. But back to the thing about it is that with you look at all the things that are happening here. You got pro football. They had their drafts. They picked the number one. I think it was what is that Oregon?
Number one pick was Caleb Williams out of USC.
USC Southern Cal.
He went to who was the number one pick? The Bears.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Come on, I know you're gonna do it.
The Bears. But anyway, like I said, they have a joke, didn't they, on the West Coast? What the Southern Cal fans used to call UCLA. So it's University of California down south. It's because it was like it would be that sort of thing. But I was interested in this thing. I was looking at this thing this morning on a break, and I was like thumbing through it. In 1965, Tennessee played Tulsa in the Bluebonnet Bowl. They had just built the Astrodome, but they were playing in Rice Stadium, and it was like outside pouring down rain. Why didn't they move the game to the Astrodome? It was ready. They didn't do it for many years. Well, what it was, it got so rainy and so muddy, it was like playing in a swamp. And they said after the first half, Tulsa had to change its uniforms from the times they played, home colors against home colors. And they changed from their home colors to whites because their uniforms were so filthy that the players couldn't stand to be in them. That tells you how bad it was, that raining in that game.
That almost reminds me of that game we played Bledsoe played out at Cumberland County a few years ago.
That was I was waiting for the arc to come by and to go 2x2.
When we had water, it was like standing almost a foot deep.
They were like sliding along playing. I was worried about they really hurt themselves doing that. And you know what it is? I thought it'd be a close game, and what it was, Bledsoe did not attempt one single pass. They won on the run.
No, kept it on the ground.
They kept on 44-6, I think the score was, and it was like at Tellico Plains. We went down there and it was like muddy, and you couldn't tell who was who at the end of the game because they were so muddy. Of course, they got into a little bit of fracas at the beginning of the game, and they cleared that out. But that's that sort of thing. Now, you could say a lot for having artificial turf, but then again, playing on grass is not going to happen.
It's just something about real grass and mud and dirt that just kind of. I don't know. Being a former player, and didn't get to play very much, but being a player and being a fan, there's just something about the grass stains and the mud and the dirt, that goes along with that. I love it.
You said they used to have when they first put artificial turf in Neyland Stadium in the 1960s. They had a kicker. He would, before they put the turf in, he would go on in the grassy area and would pick a little bit of dirt to get a thing. Well, you didn't have any dirt in order to have that. So he bring on a cup of dirt. So he put his hands in.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. But the thing about it is that if you ever watch the SEC network, they have a thing called SEC Hoops and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And they said in the early days of those games, they said, I think it was, I'm not sure what the school was, is that they would play in this arena, which was used for rodeos or whatever and all that, and they would just cover the dirt with a floor, with a wood floor. Well, the problem is the wood floor wouldn't cover all dirt, so they would be like bouncing the ball and like. And it was that sort of thing that you had. But to be honest with you right now is that sports has changed. You have the days of where you had the old days where my father used to play it when he had the leather helmets. Now the leather helmets were such that you could fold them up and put it in your pocket.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. And he said used that. And the story was that some years later, my dad was working for Coca-Cola after he retired from the Air Force, and his job was to fix the Coca-Cola machines. And that old gym down there in town. Okay, well, he was in there, and I was sort of like sitting there watching, more or less watching what he was doing. Here comes Roy Greason, his coach, and I said, "Look, here comes Mr. Greason." My dad smoked like a chimney, threw the cigarette away. I said, "What you do that for? You're not a student here anymore." He said, "Well, you know it, and I know it, but I'm not sure that he does." Everyone was afraid of Roy Greason. That's to put it mildly. See, everyone was afraid of Roy Greason. They respected him, but they were afraid. But they were scared to death of the poor guy, and that sort of thing. And my dad used to go crazy. He asked me one time. Said, "What does the team eat?" I said, "Well, they get a meal. They get a meal." I said, "Well, what I played is that they sent us home to eat before they came back to the football stadium to play, and they played where the walking track is at the old high school. That's where they played back then. So if you could try, good luck trying to collect the money to get into the game because everybody would just slip in."
Yeah. And then they built the Roy D. Greason Field down there behind.
Well, they couldn't expand it. They couldn't put seats in that stadium. They couldn't put seats
down there behind the where it's Little Blue Field where it's at now, and it's like playing on concrete.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, we played countywide down there for.
It was. It's, T.A. told me one time he says playing on concrete was softer.
Yeah.
He said that when I was at the game one year is that every other play they were carting one guy off. Because he got hurt. I think, and everybody was starting to bet whether they're going to have enough players left over to play the game.
Well, I mean, you think? I mean, that's the equivalent of what that field was designed. It's basically you playing backyard football.
That's what it was.
It's just grass is kind of spotty. It's not level.
It's a ravine. That's what.
Yeah, it's something else.
I mean, of course, the dressing rooms were like they're playing in
top notch. Top notch. Yeah.
It was that sort of thing, and of course, used to watch a lot of football games out there when I was in high school. But they were like, it's like they used to have the elementary school games during the daytime, and you go up there and sit up there like that.
Yeah.
And we used to have the car trucks. The old car trucks. Everybody would hold up the cars, and it was like go. Mm-hmm. Warriors or whatever, and all that, and well, they handed it to us. And the problem is they handed it to us upside down. And we come out there and it's like it was upside down. So your card is upside down. What are we supposed to do? We're just kids. What do we know about it?
Oh my goodness.
But anyway, you look at what's happening in the world of sports today has changed. The days of the $1 million athletes are becoming true, more and more true. 144 million, 50 million a year, that sort of thing. So, I know that sports, isn't something that you really want to get, but I think the amount of money they put out today is obscene. I don't want to go pay like $33 for a pizza. I mean, just ridiculous,
It's crazy. Yeah, the concessions are terrible. Ticket prices are absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I don't
Used to be at
understand.
Neyland Stadium, so when you go see the game in the 1980s, you could park out along Neyland Drive, and you wouldn't have to worry about paying out largest park. Then they stopped doing that. And I don't know why.
Because they found a way to make money.
Yeah, because the people around there, like, you pay $35, $40 for a parking spot.
Yeah, it's all about money, man.
And you go in there, and I think but the biggest problem is when they tore down that student center and put the new one in there, they knocked out all those restaurants, which was good places to eat.
Yeah.
And they put in like a Chick-fil-A. Now, Chick-fil-A, if you like petrified chicken, fine. And that's all.
Hey, now don't be talking about God's chicken like that now.
I think it's the devil's chicken in that one. I think it was the devil's chicken in that one. That sort of thing. Well, I'll tell you a story. I went to. They opened up a place in Crossville, Bojangles. Bojangles. Okay, I went there, and I used to tell this story to the coaches, and they would get a big laugh out of it. And I went up there. I had never been to a Bojangles, and I said, well, I'm going to try out and see what it is. And I looked at me, I said, I'm going to try the simplest thing first, because that's how you start. Okay, I ordered a chicken and a biscuit. They plunk it down. And this is like this big chicken. I said, oh, well, I'm getting my money's worth on this one. I go in there, chomp into it, and there's this red juice coming right out of it. And I said, did they cook this thing? And then I felt the eruption. It's like the 5-alarm fire. And it took me an hour of drinking Cokes, water, whatever, to get the fire to go out. And I went to him and says, your chicken acts like it's on fire. Oh, that's how we spice them up. Barbecue, the spicy barbecue. I said, is there anything that you don't add? It's not barbecue. It's just the tenders. That's about how it.
Okay. How did you miss this? Is what I'm talking. Because it's Popeye's Louisiana style chicken.
Well, you see, the news is that I'd never been to one. I did not connect the two.
You went to Bojangles, didn't you?
Bojangles.
But I thought I was stuck on Popeyes. Bojangles is hot chicken too.
Yeah.
Because I've always had just regular chicken at Bojangles.
Well, it is that I said, hey, a chicken. Sort of pointed at that didn't exactly ring. It's like going to when we went to the Hampton game. I stopped at Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
In Seville. Okay, well, get something to eat. Well, I said, if it said turkey sandwich, okay, that's nice. I'll have a turkey sandwich. I went in there and it tasted like it was barbecued, and then I looked at the wrappers, and what it is, they cleverly disguised the barbecue part where you didn't see it.
Yeah.
I kept saying,
barbecue's good for you, though.
Yeah, sure. It was like heartburn. It kept me warm. I didn't need that heater.
Well, we're getting close to the end.
Okay, let's go have your surprise.
And this is going to take a few minutes to do, so I better go ahead and bring this up and get this started. But many of you have heard, if you've listened to the radio broadcast and Bledsoe County football, you've heard us talk about this. Or if you've listened or watched the TV show here that we're doing, you also heard us talk about this as well. We're going to start an annual tradition.
Oh.
And it's not just going to be...
Who's this we?
Me and you. It's not just going to be about high school. We're going to do two different levels of the sport. And we're going to have it live, so nobody can say that I'm hiding the results in an envelope. But we're gonna go ahead and talk about the predictions.
Oh no.
For the 24 season for Bledsoe County football and the 24 season of Tennessee football. And I have made us a little official document here.
I will guarantee you, and we'll go in there.
An official document here,
ever again.
Even with our official Sports Scene logo. And it's got a little column here with Mike and Bradley. The tiebreaker, should we tie, is the score of the Bledsoe-Sequatchie game. And with the college rank, the tiebreaker is the score of the Alabama and Tennessee game. So here's what we're going to do. In front of God and everybody, we're going to talk about what you're or going to guess what you think the score will be, win or lose. You don't have to give me the score, but win or lose of these games. The only score we're going to have is the tiebreaker. That way we don't have to write down every score. So here we go. Mike, you will pick first. Sequatchie County. Does Bledsoe County win or does Bledsoe County lose the first game of the season?
Bledsoe wins.
Bledsoe wins. All right. Well, I also have Bledsoe.
I'm going to tell you something right now. Is that if you try to deny this, we will have the video evidence to prove that.
That's true. That's why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So you can't say that I'm cheating.
Let me explain to you what happened here. Is that he used to do this to me, an envelope, and he would put it in an envelope, and then I would never see this envelope again.
I didn't bring it up because I won so many that I was like, I felt bad for you. I felt bad. I was like, I don't want to make you. So okay. Anyway, carry on.
Whatever.
Cumberland County, Bledsoe, Cumberland.
Bledsoe.
I've also got Bledsoe. Sale Creek.
Bledsoe. Where's York?
York Institute.
York.
You got York?
Yeah.
As bad as I hate to say it, we're at York.
Yeah, it's going to be a close game.
It's going to be very close, and I would not be surprised whatsoever if Bledsoe didn't go up there and win this ball game. The only reason I'm picking York as well is because we're at York.
Yeah.
And that's a hostile
That's
crowd, hostile environment.
It's the only thing they got.
Wartburg.
Win. Based on Bledsoe's third quarter performance.
Okay. Telco Plains.
Win. The Bears.
I also have Bledsoe on that. At Whitwell.
Win.
Bledsoe County wins at Whitwell's what you've got. I also have Bledsoe County. At Polk County.
That's probably going to be a loss. I would say probably Polk County will be upset Bledsoe.
You're going to take Polk. I'm taking Bledsoe. Gordonsville at home.
That'll be a win.
Mike takes Bledsoe. I also take Bledsoe. And Oneida at Oneida.
I would say a loss because Oneida's not going to forget that beating we gave them last year.
Well, I'm going to go against you on that one, and I'm going to say Bledsoe County wins at Oneida. So, really, the only difference that we have here are two games. Mike has picked Polk to win. I have picked Bledsoe. Mike has picked Oneida to win, and I have picked Bledsoe. We agree on everything else. Now, Sequatchie County, Bledsoe, that's a tiebreaker.
Okay.
We both picked Sequatchie County, or Bledsoe, to win that game. So, what do you think the final score will be for Sequatchie Bledsoe?
Bledsoe 21-17.
Bledsoe 21-17. I'm going to say, since Bledsoe I have picked to win, I'm going to say Bledsoe 34, Sequatchie County 21.
You got a lot of you got a lot of optimism for that one. I would say the reason is because Sequatchie County comes in there and they remember last time they played at Python, they had that lead on us, and in the second half they fell apart because Bledsoe County managed to put it together. And the thing about it is with Sequatchie County is that they got that trophy. They want to keep that trophy.
Oh yeah, that game is always the toss-up. No matter who's playing, no matter what the record is, it doesn't matter. You can be the best team in the state. Sequatchie, you remember, was undefeated one year. Bledsoe was undefeated one year going into that game, and it didn't matter. Any records do not matter. History does not matter. Those two teams are going to give everything they've got when they play one another. Now, for time constraints, let's go right into the college ranks here.
All right.
We're going to pick the 2024 Tennessee schedule. So we start August 31st. Tennessee hosts Chattanooga at Knoxville. So does Tennessee win or lose that ball game?
Tennessee will win that game.
Tennessee going to win. I'm also going with a win. All right. NC State. This is at a neutral site. That is Charlotte.
Yeah.
So who wins this ball game?
I'm picking Tennessee to win that one.
You're picking Tennessee to win, as am I. Kent State comes to Knoxville. Tennessee wins, as have I. Now here's where we're starting to run the SEC
That's when
gauntlet.
we're going to start to get tough.
So Oklahoma. This is at Norman, Oklahoma.
I'm going to pick Oklahoma.
You're going to pick Oklahoma. I am going to pick Oklahoma as well. Arkansas at Fayetteville.
Tennessee.
Tennessee with a win.
Arkansas is just not quite there.
That's why I have Florida at Knoxville.
Tennessee.
I have Tennessee there. Alabama at Knoxville.
Tennessee.
You have Tennessee. I have Tennessee. All right. Kentucky at Knoxville.
Tennessee.
All right. Mississippi State at Knoxville.
Tennessee.
At Georgia.
Well, that is going to be a tough one. I would say right now. I'm going to pick Tennessee to upset the Bulldogs.
Oh, man. You're right on the line with me. I was going to do the same thing. UTEP.
Be Tennessee. Miners have just won 2 games last year. They're
and Vanderbilt. I think we can both.
It'll be Tennessee. It'll be Tennessee on that.
You know what? I'm gonna change something here.
Oh, you're gonna change. What are you gonna change? What?
I'm gonna change my Georgia.
Are you gonna pick the Georgia to win that one?
I'm gonna say Georgia wins that ball game, but I'm also going to go back up, and I'm gonna change my Oklahoma.
So you're picking Tennessee.
I'm gonna
keep it. I'm gonna keep it as is.
I'm gonna pick Oklahoma to Tennessee to beat Oklahoma, upset Oklahoma.
Well, you know, of course, Heupel was a quarterback at Oklahoma.
Right.
He is, by the way, is being considered for induction into the College Football Hall of Fame, along with Nick Saban and Urban Meyer. So congratulations to them.
So you've got us at 7-3.
Mm-hmm.
For the high school, I have us at 9-1. Both respectful records. You have us at 11-1.
11-1.
Tennessee, I also have 11-1. And tiebreaker, Alabama, Tennessee.
Well, of course, that's going to be a tough one. Tennessee, of course, had to fight all the way to win here at Knoxville 2 years ago, and then last year wasn't able to hold that halftime lead against the Tide. Of course, Nick Saban is not there anymore. They got New Washington. He may be still trying to break in his team a little bit, so that may be a Tennessee's advantage. I'm going to pick Tennessee to win. I'm going to pick by score at 35-17 over the Tide. For a win over the Crimson Tide.
All right. I agree with everything you said. I think Alabama, though, even with a new coach, is going to pick up where they left off. I think they're going to be successful. He's a proven coach. I still see Tennessee having a slight advantage because of the transition into that, even though I just said what I said, and the fact that we are at Knoxville. But you know the Alabama faithful on that team are going to play very hard because they want to avenge that loss.
Remember, Alabama has to play Texas,
so they're going to be out to win in Knoxville.
Yeah.
But I still pick Tennessee to win because of this. But I think it's going to be closer than that, and I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. I'm going to say Tennessee 42. Alabama 38.
Well, yeah, that would probably be a reasonable score. But you have to remember this right now: Alabama has to play Texas before they play us, and that's Texas beat Alabama last year, and I think that's to basically that's going to really be if Texas beats up Alabama enough, even in losing, that could give Alabama big problems. Now Tennessee's got quarterback. It's got Brew McCoy back from injury, and Tennessee's is loaded with wide receivers, and so they're going to be probably as good a team as you're going to find in the conference.
All right. So you witnessed it here. We both picked Tennessee to be 11-1.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you something right now. You lie like a dog.
The only difference is the Oklahoma-Georgia game.
Ethan, be sure you say this portion of this tape that I can nail him when he starts this.
No, but I can't go back and lie on it. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be archived on BTC Fiber. So there's no way that I can go back and you can accuse me.
Here comes Donald Trump.
You cannot accuse me of doctoring this. You all heard the results. I have it here in writing. We have a witness here, Ethan, who is working the camera, who knows. So there's no way that I can be accused of any sabotage whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I'm going to feel really bad when all this comes back, Mike. And again, here we have you've lost again. I'm going to feel really bad about this. Even if really the only one we can really lose on. Well, you can lose on both because of tiebreaker, but I feel bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But everybody, I'm just confident in knowing that Bledsoe County is going to perform very well, and I think Tennessee's going to surprise some people this year. And I'm really hesitant to sign off and
we're going to have to sign off. I'm afraid.
I'm really hesitant to sign off with that loss at Georgia because I don't see Tennessee going undefeated, but I do see them surprising some people this year.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to stick with it. 11-1.
Okay. Bradley, you already said your final words, I'm afraid.
Go Blue, go Big Orange,
and
so
go we're going to bid you farewell. We're going to see you in 2 weeks. We hope for another edition, hopefully a shorter edition of the Mike and Bradley Sports Scene. As you're watching here on Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Good day, everybody, and we hope that you enjoy this broadcast. Good night, everybody.